There's Mittens. There's a smart cat. So this is going to be the coldest week of the year. There's midnight here in the mudroom. It's about 0 degrees right now. So it's 2 degrees. Feels like -17 here. The next 3-4 days we're in like single digits and we're getting down to -4, -10. North Dakota and Montana I was reading about are gonna be like -40, -50. We're at like -20 wind chill. So here in our mudroom, it's not insulated, but it's better than being outside. Our cat water that we just put out, it's already freezing here. And it's sitting in front of a heater. It's not gonna be fun. We're a little behind on protecting the chicken coop floor, things like that. So we need to get some feed bags and some hay or straw down on the chicken bed floor. We need to make sure Bamboo's doing all right. He's in the final week of sitting on eggs out in his little coop. So we've got to make sure that all of our animals stay alive this week and get through the toughest part of the winter. Let's go. So of course we used to have a cow area over there, but then they started going through the fence here this winter. So we had to move them here with the horses. So they had an indoor spot that we just can't use right now until we put more wire over on that area. We'll move them back there in another month. So right now they're out here, we're feeding them some grain and some alfalfa pellets. They're doing just fine out here. They've got really thick coats and they do just fine. It's whether they hunker down in the hay at night. Now the good thing in this area is that we've got heated waterers. We've got a heated water over there. We've got heated waters in the horse barn, so even though it's almost -20 wind chill, usually all the waters stay thawed out. There's 2nd and 4th have a line running through the wall, and so sometimes that freezes. They're usually able to have water somewhere all the time throughout the day here, where like the chicken water, it's gonna freeze within an hour of us putting it out. So we've got the 4 stalls here. We've got Holiday, emus, Chip, and then more emus in there. So we've got Bamboo's house out here. He's been sitting on 3 eggs. They're due to hatch towards the end of this week, next week for the first one. So he's doing just fine in here. I gotta thaw out his water. So he is really focused on hatching these eggs, which are gonna start soon. Hopefully this weather is done by the end of the week and it starts warming up, because he's gonna have some little baby emus in here and hopefully they survive. We didn't have any emus survive that hatched out under a Burt last year, so hopefully they do all right. We've had some people ask us to put them inside, and we thought about that. Becky wanted to do that. But if you know anything about broody hens, and I'm pretty sure it'd be the same for an emu, if you move a broody animal, they get confused and they want to come back to where they're sitting on eggs. So we move them inside one of those stalls. I just don't know if he'd sit on these eggs. I think he'd give up. So we don't want to disturb them and mess it up. So we want him to hatch those out, and then we can move them into the stall to raise those babies. All right, what's going on in here?
So we clean out the stalls every morning since they've been here all night. And it's pretty easy to scoop out the emu poop. It's all in one spot. But it's really frozen today. It is hard.
We've got Cashew and Arnie down here. We're gonna keep the emus in because they're just hard to corral in at night. They just hunker down in the snow and they get really cold. Not smart enough to come in. And then we've got Peekaboo and Bird over here. Hoping Peekaboo will lay a few more eggs. We see some breeding happening. She laid about 16 or 18 eggs. Hoping there's one more cycle. We're able to sell some eggs because we definitely have enough emus. Whoa. And then we've got the horses. We've got Holiday and we've got Chip over here. We keep them in, just feed them a little bit before we let them out, and then we clean their stalls. Oh, there's their water. So water's still good, staying thawed out. That's running through the wall. So we do have these jackets on the horses. We get a lot of messages from horse people that say we shouldn't do it. A lot of people that agree that we should. And ultimately it's our decision to do that. Our trainers advise us to do that. But when it's really cold, or when it's snowing, we don't want that moisture on their body, so we put the jackets on. If it were just freezing, no snow out here, I'd have no problem going without the jacket, but right now, we definitely feel more comfortable with having the jacket on them. All right, Holiday, you ready? And they just come right for this hay after eating and just kind of hang out here just about all day. Think we'll be able to use this as compost?
Yes, that's the idea. This is gonna be really good compost in the garden.
Yeah.
As long as we can get a a scoop on a tractor or something. So in the main coop, we're gonna lay down some old feed sacks and then some hay on top of that to add some insulation since it's so cold right now, to help out with the main flock keeping warm in their coop.
It's gonna get a little crazy. We got all the chickens inside today. Some of you guys know we've got a mesh floor on the bottom of the chicken coop, that's so the poop goes through. Somewhat frozen with chicken poop all down below them. There's a broken egg. So that's done. We got the bottom all covered here. We gotta collect eggs real quick before they freeze. 1, 2, got a couple eggs here. Is that a crack? I can't tell.
Oh, that's a feather.
Got the bottom covered, got the eggs collected before any of them cracked, which is amazing. Now these guys are all set. We'll go load up with food and water. And we'll come back and get everyone taken care of. Just a question for you, Becky. So why do we do this? No, for real.
That's a good question.
Do you think you could do this if you truly hated it, or if somebody was just getting into this and all of a sudden they had to do all this work? Do you think that'd be sustainable, like that they would enjoy doing it and do it all the time? Like, why do we do it every day?
I think so. We love animals and we love this lifestyle of having our own property and providing our own food. So I think that's why we do it. Otherwise, I don't think we would have a motivation to do it. It's pretty crazy on these kind of days when it's so cold and it's so hard. In the long run, it's worth it.
So we've got 4 peafowl in this area. These are 2 that hatched from Blue and Bell last year. So they're a year and a half old now. A white peacock there, and then we've got a piper, the pied peacock. Shimani coop there. This is our phantom flock. It's all our smaller chickens and then a few special cases. We've got Kelly, a blind chicken. We've got Dove, our original chicken. She's like 8 years old. We've got Poppy, an egg that came from Europe. A lot of fun stories in here. Our crossbeak butters right here. These guys are sitting outside here, but I don't know. They want to go inside.
Almost like the chickens can't function when it gets so cold. They just sit down in the snow. It's like, why don't you just go back inside? I don't know. They're silly.
So we got 3 coops in use over here. This first one used to be our duck coop. Now we have some offspring from our breasts and then 1 Shimani offspring here. Over here in the chicken tractors, we have 4 plus a little one. These first 2, those are what we moved to the aviary. We had the pheasants and mandarin ducks. Now here in this third one, we've got another pair from Blue and Bell, India blue and a white peahen. And then we have 1 male red golden pheasant in here. And then in here we've got our Indio Gantes. In the past, we've had them up where the ducks are, and that's pretty exposed to weather. We've also had them in some chicken tractors that weren't fully covered, and they just do not do well in cold weather. So we've got them fully covered and protected this year. They're doing much better. They look really good this year. So we'll start selling eggs from our Chimanis and our Indio Gantes. Indio Gantes are the tallest chicken breed in the world. We'll start selling those in March. So we've had a lot of people asking about that. All right, here's a broken egg. Lots of food for you. And then this last line here, we've got the breast chickens, the breeder flock. And we've got roosters and a turkey.
So we've got these flock of starlings that get into this coop every single day. Probably get in through the automatic door, and they have food and water, so why wouldn't they? But here they go.
go. Got them out. We got these breast chickens this last year from another farm, and I'm not sure if we're gonna sell any of their eggs or not, or chicks, but the goal of them is for meat and for eggs. So we can eat their eggs, they lay a lot, and then they get pretty big, a little faster than most chicken breeds other than the meat breeds. It's supposed to be a sustainable meat breed, so that way we can raise them year round. But unlike Cornish cross, you just really can't raise them for an extended period of time. You can raise these year round and always have meat birds on your farm. Here's our rooster, our big turkey door. Who do we got in here? We got their Slater, our blue slate turkey, and then Rebel, our Bruges fighter rooster that we want to hang on to for now, and the turkey. Should we go to the aviary?
Yeah.
This is out at our aviary out here, and a good 6 inches to 12 inches of snow the last day or two. Looks like the pond's mostly frozen, but I still hear the water running. Looks really beautiful in here. So it's thawed out right there at the top of the waterfall, then it's frozen. Thaws out right through there, and then it's pretty solid down to the bottom. So 0 degrees out here, and we still have some moving water. We're a little nervous because we don't see all the male mandarins. We want to double check.
It's the first time I've ever seen him in the barn, ever. Oh, look, it's run out though.
It's the first time we've ever seen them. They're there.
I wish they would go in. They need to, it's too cold.
So we got Blaze here, and then the peacocks, peafowl, and then a couple more of the red golden pheasant hens up there. They're all being smart. They pretty much just stay inside all winter. Here's Zazu, our emu from last year. So I think he hangs out in that house quite a bit out here when it's cold, but he's doing all right here with the turkeys that I can't remember if we hatched them out last year or the year before. But so we thought about putting we have the 8 emus inside the house right now, putting them over in this shelter when it warms up, which just in a week or two it'll be warmer. But we might do a covered chicken tractor just to give them a place to get heat during the day and put a heat lamp in at night. But we can't even put them outside this week, it's just too cold. But next week might be the week for that. So let's go inside. We've already got the button quail taken care of in this barn. Ready to warm up. I can't feel my feet. What's the coldest part of you right now?
I think it's my feet and my fingers.
Yeah.
And then now my face.
Yeah. We've got an emu that's hatching out here. It is egg number 11, and this one we actually found it was wet, it was rainy. No big issue for this emu on this egg here. Hey, buddy. It's got a big chunk that's about to knock off there.
That is my egg. Egg and Chi-Chi's on.
Yes, a Chi-Chi.
Look what Chi-Chi's on.
So we added emu number 11 here. It doesn't mean we have 11 emus, it means we have 9. Egg number 1 developed but did not hatch, and so we're going by egg number. And then egg number 9, we actually never brought inside. It actually got broken. It was by the hay, and I think the horses probably ended up stepping on it. So we ended up actually hatching out 9 of our 10 eggs. Really awesome. 90% hatch rate. We have 2 through 8, and then number 10 and number 11. We have 5 in this area here, which is the most we've kept in here. We initially had 5, and then we had to create area number 2. So we've got wood chips down on the bottom. We've got their food, and then a water dish right here. A couple toys, got their heat lamp, and then we have the plastic to keep the wood chips in, and then we cover this at night with a blanket. So we have this area right here that's behind the couch. The other area is right over there, and when we fill up this water dish, they come running over, they dip their head in it, they get some water, but they end up going through the whole water dish in about 3 swigs of water, and so they're constantly out. So when we're able to get them outside, that issue will be resolved. This is our biggest emu here. This is number 2. Definitely wants to run, and is right at a month old. And we had a lot of people that, when we showed them in the house in our last video, They said, why weren't you prepared for this? And we had very few hatch last year. We had like 4 total. We only had to have a couple in the house for a really small period of time. And this time we had 9 hatch over the course of 2 weeks. And it was also in a much colder time in February instead of in April and May. So we had to adjust to the success that we had, and then also the cold weather that kind of came out of nowhere.
Whoa, not fun.
All right, so what are we doing here?
We're preparing for a cold night.
How cold's it gonna get?
So it's gonna get down to -9 with about -10 to 20 wind chill. And so it's gonna be a really brutal night. So we're preparing for the animals here, cats and dogs specifically. We noticed that our mudroom is not much warmer than it is outside. But we got the button quail barn nice and toasty. It's about 25 degrees out there. We got 3 heat lamps going on, and we got some heated beds all in there. So I think it's nice and cozy out there. So we're gonna put everybody in that barn. I know they're gonna suffer for 1 night or 2 nights. But,
Suffer why?
well, it's cold. Well, okay, so their cats and dogs don't like to be put together. They like their own space. They want to be outside, but at least they're warm and safe in there.
So we've got our button quail in here. They're in here most of the year. Sometimes we put them outside a little bit. And then we'll use our brooder over there, but right now we're using it to heat some cats. We've got Bear right there. We've got Tiger, and then we've got Midnight and Mittens. They're not used to being with all these guys. This is our newest cat on the farm. This is Cat Dog. Couldn't think of a better name, but that's the name we inherited when we took this cat in. So it's Cat Dog. Welcome to the farm and to the channel.
We might end up changing her name. It's kind of a weird name.
And then we've got Bolt down here.
She wants out so bad. She's the one that keeps trying to escape. She'd rather be outside in the freezing cold than in here with all the cats.
And then you're gonna put who else in here?
This is Joey's little space. I thought it'd be nice to separate the cats and the dog, because not all of the cats get along with Joey, but most part they do. Giving her her own little spot, see? And I was gonna plug in another bed for the cats.
And so it feels pretty good in here with all the heat lamps running. We're kind of pushing the electric grid of this room to the max here, but we've got heat lamps for the button quail, and then that helps heat the room, plus the one over the cat area over here.
Here you go.
Come on, Joey. Come on in. Come in. All right, think this will work out?
I hope so. We'll try it.
So the next couple days were rough, but Joey and the cats did just fine together in the barn. We still had to throw hay out for the cows and horses since we couldn't drive the tractor in the snow. And out at the aviary, the pond was almost completely frozen over. So last night was about -20 wind chill. Pond pretty much froze over. There's a little bit of gap right there, but they can't get access to it. But there's a little bit of water right here at the top. I think we're getting up to 10 degrees today and then back to 0 tonight. So it'll thaw out, but this is probably the worst it'll ever be, is like this right now. Out with Bamboo, he's still sitting diligently on his 3 eggs.
Still 3 eggs there.
I think we're within a day or two, so come on, Bamboo, you can do it, buddy. It's supposed to warm up starting tomorrow, so hopefully anybody that hatches will do all right underneath him. He'll be able to keep him warm. And sure enough, the weather finally got above freezing, and we were able to let out the emus again. And boy, were they ready to run. We didn't lose any birds to the cold weather, but a couple of roosters got a little frostbite this week. But now, we just need the snow to melt. I'm ready for spring. What are you guys doing? What are you playing? You playing with ducks? Got your little duckies.